I'm going to let you in on my life and the exciting whirlwind that it is. But first, I'm going to shill my stand-up show to you. You should go see it. It's touring around the country. You can check out the links at the bottom. And also, you should sign up to Jordan Shanks. Now that I've done that, I'm going to give you the dessert of me talking about how awesome my life is. I am reading a book that isn't very interesting. But it's about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it is more or less about the peak of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Do you know what Maslow's hierarchy of needs is? Are you tuned out because I'm talking about it? You think that this is going to be boring and lame? Well, I'm here to tell you that you are probably right. However, no, you're not. You're not. You're not better than Maslow. No one's better than Maslow, except, of course, the chick from The Nanny. Now that we've got that sorted, where you are on the hierarchy of human beings, which is at the absolute bottom, I've just got to get you through this because this was revolutionary when it came out, and I think that he's definitely right. And Tony Robbins has definitely moved up the hierarchy of needs to get to the next level, which is talking about it in a way that is even more accurate. Now I'm reading a book that claims that it is very accurate and scientific about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I think this was more just his observations. But because he is better than you, he has better observations. He's better than me as well. I don't know what he looks like. Every time I think about him, I always imagine that he looks like the Elephant Man, and I'm not sure why. However, if you haven't ever heard about it, these are actually very important concepts to have in your head because you will always be in one of these realms, as in where your focus goes, where your attention goes in life. It is going to be in one of the following 5 categories. And it is important for you to note where you are. That's what I want you to do. I want you to note where most of your attention is going. Because this is always going to be the thing that takes up most of your data. If you are, for instance, starving, you're not going to be thinking about, is my relationship with Tanya really doing that well? You'll eat Tanya, won't you? And she's not going to be very meaty, and then the hunger will start again. God, human beings are scary animals, aren't we? We really are those giants in Attack on Titans. Oh, it was deep. Deeper than Maslow's hierarchy theory. We might even talk about it another time. Although I did on my Jordan Shanks channel, and you can check it out. But in the meantime, you get the scraps, which is Maslow. That's right. Hentai is... Anime is higher. All right, so the first one is physiological. Sorry. Well, I am. Physiological is, of course, what we were just discussing there. Are you hungry? Do you have shelter? Are you cold? It's just anything that affects the body. Of course. Look, as Tony Robbins always says, a healthy man has 1,000,000 wishes, but a sick man has 1 wish. Of course. Have you ever had that before, where you are so sick that you're sitting there, obviously when you had COVID, right? And you were just looking up at the ceiling and you realize all you could think about is, maybe death wouldn't be that bad. You could get to that level in life. And that is the same as when you see people on the streets that are begging. And you always think, and when someone says to them, why don't you get a job? Well, it's hard to think about, maybe is my CV up to date? Maybe I should go to Officeworks and print it out. You're not going to be thinking about those things if you're hungry or a drug addict. That becomes a physiological need, doesn't it? But when you sort that out, what happens then? Then you start thinking about things like, maybe I should put a padlock on my shelter. Instead of just under a bridge out of the rain, you start thinking, a door? Could I afford a door? And you start thinking about financial security. And this is the thing that I think is like terrible and an unfulfilling life, right? Like most people in the Western world are beyond physiological needs. They get to safety needs and they kind of just stay there. Or they stay in the next one, which is a feeling of belonging, a feeling of being loved. You silly, lame humanoids with your emotions. I laugh at them. Well, obviously, everybody needs to feel loved and a sense of belonging and security, but this is the whole thing. You can integrate all of these things: safety, belonging, esteem. Now, esteem is, what is that? So belonging and love really is just other people telling you, like, you're special and I'm going to give you a cuddle. And then self-esteem is a self-cuddle. And then self-actualization is the final. And once all of these other things are done, once all of these are handled. So really what we're talking about in self-help a lot of the time is love, esteem, and self-actualization. Those are the things that we really want to be focusing on. We want to be focusing on making sure that you are lovable, so that you can actually get and after a while, that kind of externally or internally, you can get it either way. If you get enough people saying like, you're awesome, you're amazing, you start getting self-esteem, don't you? You can veto it, you can stop yourself from getting self-esteem, but you yourself have enough reference points of people saying, you're really good at high jump, that you start thinking, I'm good at high jump, which is really self-esteem, right? It is just internalized love and connection of yourself. Then the last one that we are always talking about is self-actualization. Now, what is self-actualization? It really is just man being all that he can be, which, let's be honest, who has self-actualized better than anyone else? The quarterback to the New England Patriots, Tom Brady. I do actually think that, though, after reading his book. He's phenomenal. But yes, when we're talking about being self-actualized, when you have those other ones handled, and this is something that is truly remarkable, and I feel very #blessed about this, because all of these other ones are sort of handled in my life at this point, I spend most of my time in self-actualization. What is self-actualization? Self-actualization is, I always wanted to build the world's largest hot dog mobile. I always wanted to fly around the world in one of those Red Bull hand gliders. I feel like that would fulfill me as a person, that would be accomplishing all of these things. These are the things that happen when you have enough self-esteem to be like, yeah, you can do this. And obviously, you're not starving, and you're not worried about South African gangs entering your house and being like, give me your baby, so they can kidnap it, so they can sell it for ransom later, right? Like, when all those things are handled, then you start thinking about those things of, what if I entered the Guinness World Book of Records for having the world's thinnest unibrow, right? Like, then you start doing that stuff. That's all of that we're talking about right now. I want you to identify for yourself, and it's very important that you do this. You need to figure out where you are in that pyramid. Where are you? Where do you spend most of your time? Are you mostly thinking about, where can I get my next meal? Are you mostly thinking about, should I have a padlock on my door? Do I have enough money so that I can afford the rent? Are you thinking about the next one after that, which is like, does he really love me? And then the next one after that, do I really love myself? And then in the last one, are you just thinking most of the time of like, and these are the things, this is really where we're talking about when we're talking about Tony Robbins' 6 human needs. And we're talking about these are the spiritual needs that human beings have of contribution and growth. That's where self-actualization hits in. That's what you're aiming for most of your life. And you keep moving in and out of these pyramids parts at different points in your life. There will be points where you are self-actualized, you're a billionaire, and then somebody comes in and says, oh yeah, I don't know, the Smithson's merger did go through. You think, oh God, I'm going to be worth 2 billion instead of 5 billion. Duh! You jump out the window. You have linked that to your physiological safety, but is it necessarily true? I want you to try and be as honest as possible as you are with all of these pyramid things. And the most important thing that I want you to do is, whatever one you are spending your time in, most of the time, out of those 5, the one, and it's important for you to just get up a pyramid, so you should just get it up from Google Images. Just look up like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Whatever one you are spending most of your time in, unless it's self-actualization, you are not spending enough time in. You should be spending more time than you currently are in self-actualization. It doesn't even matter if you're physiological, which you aren't if you're watching this right now. The reason that you must be spending more time on self-actualization than these other 4 is because if you do, you have something to aim for, and you start doing it anyway, because the truth of the matter is, you're not constantly scaricking for survival like a mouse that lives in your shit rental apartment is. Even the mouse has probably got enough time to think about self-actualization. It's not eating your breadcrumbs all the time. I don't know, maybe. I don't know enough about mice to say that definitively. Isn't it amazing that I'm so confident on this channel all the time, but when it comes to this stupid, absurd scenario that I've envisioned in my head, back to the drawing board, maybe, tentatively. But with that, self-actualization is at the top. You should be spending most of your time there. What is that again? It is contribution and it is growth. It is about, who do I want to be? What type of person do I want to be? You write those questions down. So when it comes to all of these things, when it comes to esteem, love, safety, physiological stuff, look, those things are transitory. if you focus on what I'm telling you about on this channel, which you should subscribe to, by the way, if you focus on these things for not very long at all, you will go up to the self-actualization part of the pyramid. But the question is, once you're there, you're kind of like, what now? And then you start getting distracted and go down the pyramid. That's why it's important for you to think about being at the top of the pyramid before you even reach it. What type of person do you want to be? What do you want to leave? These are the big questions of self-help. These are the questions you need to keep honing in. They showed this before. Most successful people on earth pretty much just ask themselves 2 questions on a daily basis. What do I want and how do I get it? That's more of the self-actualization stuff. Like, you can ask those questions in any of those. But when you get to that final phase of like, what now that I've had all of these other things handled, am I willing to give out? Because let's just be honest. After physiological, he's kind of right. Like, if you do not have a high self-esteem, you may as well just be rummaging around from bin to bin like the rat outside is. Because you do not have the belief in yourself that you are capable or worthy of doing anything great. So, you need to be thinking about this. You need to be cultivating that final image. What is the final pinnacle, I've won at life image in your head? It's a fun exercise to do. Most of the time, you're just distracting yourself with boring YouTube videos anyway. I want you to spend the next 5 minutes writing that down. If I had all of my needs in life handled, what would I be spending my time on? So you at least have something to aim for. And if you have something to aim for, you will get there. Now, make sure that you sign up to Jordan Shanks because I'll get you there a hell of a lot faster. I can guarantee you that. I've spent 12 years now reading in this subject. I can help you get to where you want to go. You think of all these stupid little Bitcoin franchises that you've invested money into. Do it when you get to my level and you have the money to just be like, oh, yeah, I'll just chuck 1,000 on. Oh, fuck, it didn't work. All right, another 1,000. Like, get to that level first. The way that you get to that level is by self-actualizing yourself so that you are one of these rare human beings. I've got a whole video about why self-actualization is so important that I just signed up then and how to get there. That's under the Jordan Shanks paywall. And all of the people that end up doing this program for even a very short amount of time, they start seeing undeniable results. And even when you start seeing results in that direction, you realize, yep, good enough, let's move there. Anyway, make sure that you sign up and subscribe. Thank you very much.